What is up, Healthcare Squad? Logan here with Healthcare Stress Relief, the company dedicated to helping you navigate the crazy world of healthcare during these troubling times by teaching you self-care strategies and bringing awareness to the issues within the system so that we can choose the correct career opportunity for us, all while living our best lives. And with that being said, today I'm going to be talking about the 5 pros of being a male nurse. When I was growing up, none of the male role models that I had ever once mentioned that becoming a nurse was a good career choice. Nobody ever talked about it. And it wasn't until one day my mom sat me down and she said, "Logan, you would make a very good nurse." And I said, "Isn't that a female profession?" And she said, "No, it's not. Actually, you should call your cousin. He's in nursing school right now." And on my dad's side of the family, there's about 3 or 4 nurses on that side. So I gave my cousin a call. He was in nursing school at the time. He tells me this pretty crazy story about a patient he had who had just had a stroke from drug use, and all of the nurses had written him off. And so my cousin notices the guy can almost barely breathe. And so he looks in his mouth and finds that nobody had really provided oral care for this guy for a couple days. So all of the saliva had basically become cement. So my cousin spent a long time cleaning this guy up, and he couldn't speak because of the stroke. My cousin told me he could see in the guy's eyes just this look of thank you so much. And when I heard this story on top of all the other crazy and gross stories, I said, sign me up. And right when I went to college, I just dove in, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. Unfortunately, in our society, with all of the movies and media like Meet the Parents,
sometimes these catheters can pinch a little bit. Well, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it.
You got a real gentle touch there, Doctor.
And if you haven't seen it already, spoiler alert, but the main character is a male nurse. It's funny that we even have to say male nurse. That implies that nursing is only female. And his name is Gaylord Fokker, and everybody calls him Gaylord Fokker, the male nurse. And the dad makes fun of him and says, "Why didn't you choose to be a doctor?" and all of this stuff. And these kinds of things in our society perpetuate the idea that nursing is only female, and I don't disagree with that. I do see why more females are drawn to the profession, but I don't think that it should only be a female profession. I think that men bring a huge amount of positivity and balance to the workplace environment, and balance is important in any workplace, especially if we're talking about healing people. We need balance in a hospital in order to maintain the comfort and integrity of our patients. Stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to be covering the 5 pros of becoming a registered nurse. Number 1, you're going to bring balance to the work environment. The majority of nurses are female. I think the male percentage it's increasing, but it's only, and don't quote me here, but it's around 10 to 20% of nurses. And you can actually see in the intensive care and emergency departments, the numbers actually go up. And I think it's because more men are drawn to the blood and gore and the crazy scenarios. That's why you see more of a balance in those workplaces. Even then, women still absolutely dominate the career. The percentages for women are much higher. And so number 1, you're going to bring a balance to the work environment. I personally, in my experience, found that many of my coworkers were very happy to see me, and it's not just because of my personality or anything. It's because there was a balance in the workplace now. And go ahead and comment below if you agree with this, if you're a girl. When you have 20 coworkers who are all women, the estrogen can get pretty high. And there can be a lot of cattiness, a lot of grudges, and just not liking each other. But bring men into the environment and you'll start to see a little bit of a balance. And many of my coworkers said they appreciated having men in the profession because it brought a balance to the work environment. This leads to number 2, you are highly marketable as a man. And this is one of the few career paths that you can find where it's completely female dominated, and what that does for you is it makes you stand out. You are the diamond in the rough. You will stand out to employers, because if they have 100 female applicants and they only have 3 male applicants, your chances of getting hired are pretty high up there. Because like what I just said in number 1, you bring balance to the work environment, and 2, you stand out. So if you have 2 nurses who are applying for a job, one's a female, one's a male, they both absolutely crush the interview, it's 50-50, it's up in the air, right? But if that employer wants more balance in the workplace, they're going to choose the male probably, and depending on their own interests and stuff. And unfortunately for women, I know some of you are like, oh, that sucks, men are taking advantage of the situation, but it is what it is. It's one career path where men are not dominant, and because of that, men actually get more opportunities because we need more balance in the workplace. And to add to the marketability, men will bring a different set of leadership skills to an organization than women will. Not to say that they can't both possess the same leadership skills, but there is, in my opinion, a difference between men and women and how they approach certain situations. Not all women, not all men, but I would say there is a general difference, and it makes it easier for men in the organization to move up on the ladder of leadership because of this difference. If you want to develop the self-care strategies needed to survive in this profession, then go ahead and book a free Stress Less call. It's a 30-minute call. On the call, I will help you in whatever way I can, evaluate your current issues, and give you some tips and tricks in order to help you survive this crazy career for the long haul. Number 3, because of the balance you bring to the workplace, some of your patients are actually going to be happier, more cheerful to have a male nurse instead of a female nurse. Some people only want a female nurse, some people only want a male nurse, and like I said in number 1, you bring balance to the work environment. And you can make a lot of patients happy. If your charge nurse sees that, oh, this patient is being troublesome, then you can go in there. Many times they would put me into a room where a female nurse wasn't getting along with the patient, and him and I got along very fine. And sometimes it's just the patient's attitude. Number 4, and this is not a reason to get into nursing, but you are going to be surrounded by a lot of women all the time. And I read a YouTube comment about this recently, actually. The pro here is you're surrounded by women all the time, and the con can also be you're surrounded by women all the time. It is nice to be around a lot of women if you're a man. It's just great. It's like you're in your own music video and you just have girls around you all the time. Now, with that being said, do not crap where you eat. For those of you who think I'm going to get into nursing because there's a lot of girls and I'm going to make good money and I'm going to have everything I want, do not go sleeping around with all of your coworkers. That is a terrible idea. I have seen very bad things happen, and this is not Grey's Anatomy. Even though a lot of the hospitals are like this, there are nurses sleeping with doctors, doctors sleeping with nurses, people all cheating on their spouses and stuff together. I've seen it firsthand. But I advise you as a man, you're gonna have a lot of options. Do not mess this up. Make sure that you know what you want. Do not go sleeping around with a bunch of your coworkers, because it will blow up in your face. It's a recipe for disaster. I'm glad I had that boundary myself, because I saw a lot of my coworkers getting into a lot of trouble, and you don't want to be that guy. Number 5, I find that a lot of careers for men are geared in just one specific aspect. Like if you look at engineering, it's a very logical profession, or if you are a handyman or a construction worker, you're pretty much just using one aspect of your being. But as a nurse, you are You have to be logical, you have to be scientific, you have to be compassionate. This is really good, and this goes back to number 4. Being surrounded by women all the time actually makes you a much more cooperative and compassionate person. And I know some of you men out there are like, oh, I have a beard and I'm Grizzly Adams and I'm an alpha male. But being cooperative and compassionate is actually going to benefit you more than trying to outdog all of your opponents. So I find this career is extremely good if you're looking for balance in your life. It exercises so many facets of your mind and your body. You're going to be moving a lot of patients, walking a lot, and exercising a lot in the profession. Yeah, I really can't think of another profession that combines so many different skill sets into one. It's really hard to get bored until you get to a point where you're just really good at what you do, but you can always level up in the profession. There's always career advancement opportunities and places where you can challenge yourself. So I highly advise nursing in that aspect. If you are a male nurse or you support male nursing, go ahead and subscribe. It helps so much with my channel, and it helps me spread the message of the work I'm trying to do, helping healthcare professionals. Thank you. And if you liked this video, go ahead and check out the other video I have on the cons of being a male registered nurse. With that being said, I will be clocking out now. Thank you so much for watching. Stay strong, Healthcare Squad. Talk to you later.